best part about being an anthropologist, I swear it really is the fact that you get to have time with people in their days, right? I actually get to spend time with people in their homes. I get to see their families. I get to see what they care about, what frustrates them. You can see all of the wonderful mess that makes up all of our lives. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. It was like a foreign country. I mean, people said things I didn't understand. They used English words to mean things I didn't think those words ever meant. There were acronyms embedded in acronyms. There were meetings that would go on for hours where I would understand every third word, and even then I couldn't put together whole sentences. I think it was also so compelling. For better or worse, one of the things I increasingly know about myself is the bigger the challenge, the more I like it. So the fact that it seems so totally overwhelming, I knew it was kind of a nut worth cracking. But it took a long time to work out how to talk to engineers. And I think it took a little bit of compromise on both of our parts. The web might have grown up. I'm not sure we have. And I think it's deceptive to say that we're all having the same relationship with it, right? I mean, I think, for some Americans, we've been around the web for years. I mean, I remember when it was not the web and it was things like Mosaic. I mean, I remember the first time I downloaded Armstrong landing on the moon over a phone line in 1993, and it took 12 and a half hours, and it seemed fairly uncompelling at that point. I remember thinking, if that's the internet, I can give it a big miss.
Right.
And, by the time I came back to it, it had gotten considerably more interesting. But, there are some people who are encountering the web around the world who'll never see it on a computer screen. It will only be text-based on a mobile phone. So I did fieldwork in Malaysia years ago, and we came past this shop that was full of paper things. And I like stationery, so I thought maybe it was a stationery shop. And so I said to my colleague, let's go in. And he's like, no, Genevieve, this is a spirit money shop. I said, what's that? He's like, well, this is a shop made of paper things that the Chinese Malay buy. And once a year at Qingming, or the Festival of Shining Bright, they burn all this paper on their ancestors' tombstones to look after their dead relatives. And I'm like, wow, okay. Oh, I have to go into this shop now. And I look at this paper mobile phone, and it's in a box with a mobile phone and lipstick and a purse. And I say to the woman I'm with, what's this for? She's like, well, you buy it for your family and you burn them. I said, who are they calling? Your dead relatives, right? And she's like looked at me. I was like, well, are they calling you? She's like, don't be ridiculous. They're calling each other. And I'm like, okay. And there's something about that story that's funny. I mean, there's something funny about this notion of burning paper technology and upgrading your dead relatives' mobile phone so that every year they have a better Nokia phone. What was so telling to me, though, about it was that I suddenly realized that here was this technology that had become so important that not only could you not be alive without it, you couldn't be dead without it either. And there was something really telling about that notion that here was something that had crossed over. I mean, not just crossed over when you burnt it and fire made it real again, but it had crossed over from being technology to being utterly and quintessentially part of daily life.